Thanks for coming to the talk. I know it's late. I know you guys have been here all day, so I appreciate it. Hello. We have stickers over there if you want. I can just go give you some afterwards too, but cool. So this is how SendGrid scaled developer evangelism. Before I start, have you guys heard of SendGrid? Nice. So this talk is not meant to be an advertisement for SendGrid, but just in case you haven't, SendGrid is just an email API. It's an API for developers to add email into their apps. Just quick reference, if you have ever used Uber and you got a receipt back from Uber, that uses SendGrid to send that out. So my name is Kunal Batra, and I am the team lead for SendGrid and the Americas. I help manage our technical and non-technical community efforts, so that's evangelists and other community people, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. A little history of SendGrid evangelism. Adapter in my pocket. So it started back in 2009, SendGrid, and that was our first, this is Tim Falls, our first boss. He kind of created the program. Just to give you an idea where I fall into the whole SendGrid evangelism team, that's me over here. I joined March 2013. So we had, I had 5 people join before me, and then 10 people joined after me. So my point of view is gonna be from that era right there. Kind of saw the ramp up and then kind of saw the different phases that evangelism happened at SendGrid. Just to give you a little bit more about my background, my story, how I got into developer evangelism. Right out of college, I studied CS. Then from there, started working for a small network security company in New Jersey called Known Access. Did a little bit of Java dev, did a little bit of iOS development. Then I got bit by the entrepreneurial bug and thought I would make this amazing idea, start this social network, do really, really well. Ended up being a horrible idea. It didn't work out. But the cool thing was, while doing that, I found out about a company called Twilio. They're another developer-focused company that has a developer evangelism program. At that time, they were running these little contests on their blog, these little developer contests. So I decided to take a weekend off of this social network that I was working on and start working on this little project. It built a little chat box, put it on a website. Anytime you would type into that chat box, it would speak whatever you typed in to a Twilio phone number. Whatever you spoke into that Twilio phone number, it would convert that into text, put it in that chat box. Didn't win, thought that was cool. Started working again back on this social network. And then a couple of months passed by and I started getting these emails from the deaf community. And they're like, what you just built is amazing. We don't have that. Can we get that? So stopped working on my social network, started using Twilio, built out this other mobile app, coded everything in Objective-C, started speaking at different events. It was great. The only thing is that didn't work out as well because we tried to get the government as a customer. The cool thing was that during that time, I saw SendGrid, and SendGrid was like, look, you code, you speak, we love what you do, would you like to work for us? And that was back in, I think, January 2013. And in March I joined. It's been some of the best years of my life after that. So that's how I became a developer evangelist. But what is evangelism and why do we use it? So I don't know if any of your companies have developer-focused products and you guys try to market to developers. It's a very different game. You can't use traditional media, you can't use print, you can't use advertising, you can't use TV to kind of market to developers. It just doesn't work. So this field kind of got created called developer evangelism. It's where developers start marketing to other developers. And the way that's done is not in any traditional means. We exist to solve problems for other developers. So at SendGrid, we kind of market SendGrid. It's not too salesy. I don't talk to other developers about what we do. I just usually serve the community. Whatever problems they might need, I'm there to kind of help them solve their pains. And the hope is that when they do have any email pains, any marketing pains, that they will think of SendGrid after those interactions. Or if they know someone else who has those pains, they will advocate for us. So why do we need it? We talked about that as well. Developers just don't follow traditional marketing. They don't like it. It doesn't work for them. So this is how SendGrid thinks of developer evangelism. And we kind of separate into these 3 C's. You can also think of it as like a triangle. We have this team of people, and everyone kind of gravitates towards one of these edges of the triangle, which is content, code, and community. Content is any sort of blog post, webinars, docs. Docs are huge for the developer community, and I'll go more into that in a bit. Code, open source libraries, Any sort of code that you can hand out to other people where they can modify themselves on your product is always great. And community. So speaking at events such as this, conferences, hackathons, meetups, that really defines what developer evangelism is. And this is how it all got started. So I look Facebook for the most embarrassing photo of my boss. He's no longer at SendGrid. He went to join another company, but he would love this if he was here. So he's the one who created the Developer Evangelism program back in 2011 at SendGrid. He initially, how many people here are familiar with Techstars or any sort of startup accelerator incubator? So what these programs do is companies come in and they give mentorship and money. So he worked for one of those companies called Techstars as a Techstars associate. And his job was for any of these companies in this class, these startups, he would kind of do any sort of sales dev, business development, any marketing sort of work for them. SendGrid was in the same class that he was working with, and he kind of became the marketing person for SendGrid. As SendGrid graduated from this program, he kind of left the job there and joined full-time working as the marketing coordinator for SendGrid. So let me go back to this slide since it's just better to look at. Yeah, so from there, he joined SendGrid, kind of became the marketing coordinator, and then started looking at Twilio again, this other developer-focused company, and saw the value that they're doing and that it really, really works. He decided that, you know what, we need to start this up in SendGrid. So in 2011, he hired 2 other evangelists, Brandon West, who's now replaced him as the head of our team, and another evangelist called Elmer Thomas. And from there, they started following these different phases of evangelism, which I'll walk you through. And when I joined, I was actually part of this phase of our team. So the first phase that I noticed when for evangelism teams is this drive awareness and adoption of the API or your technical product. For us, what we did is we wanted to make sure developers knew what SendGrid was, the problems we solved, and to do that, we needed to be where developers are. So some of the places we went to were hackathons. So this is a hackathon in New York City called TechCrunch Disrupt. It gets hundreds of developers at these hackathons. You can see me right here in this massive photo of people, sea of people. So that's me. Hackathons are really cool, and it's great for evangelism. You can kind of hit it in 2 different ways, like we do in SendGrid. You can go there as a sponsor and hit up everyone and kind of offer a prize for the best use of your product. Or you can go there as just a hacker and start hacking, making code with everyone else, and just make relationships and friends. Both have a lot of good benefits. I'm going to go into some of those right now. One of the cool things to see is when you're at a hackathon, just meeting people, making those relationships, those people will hopefully turn into customers, or they will turn into advocates for your product, which is the best thing I've seen. Down the road, if you're not an event, these people who you had interactions with actually start talking about your product in a really positive light. Best sales channel ever you can get. Really good for product feedback. Really good product feedback. You have hundreds of people using your API. You get to see what's working and what's not, what's documented well and what's not. It's also good for getting small, large customers. A lot of these hackathon hackers turn out to go to startups, and from there, whenever they have that email pain, they will think of SendGrid. One cool story about getting a large customer, I was actually at this event hacking, and I came up with this idea just to build a quick email app where you email in how much money you want to spend at Taco Bell, and it will then respond back to you with the max amount of calories, best bang for your buck. So it'll give you a menu that will give you the max amount of calories for less than the money you want to spend or equal to the money you want to spend. I thought it was just funny at the time. No one actually used to use it. It got viral, so much so that Taco Bell then invited myself and my team to their office, took us a tour on their office, let us create this conversation with them, and now every single time someone orders from the Taco Bell application, the email receipt gets sent by SendGrid, all because of these type of events. And that was probably the most unique story of my career so far. So other events that are really great to go to are conferences. This is one that we sponsored back last year. We sponsored the hackathon at PHP Tech. Really good place to go reach out to developers who actually work in enterprise or other startups, and not so much so college hackers. Another thing is hosting your own meetups or going to other meetups. In New York City, where I'm based out of, there are a lot of the developers there are part of the finance sector. So, really want to hit them and get their mind share and let them know what SendGrid is. One of the things I did was create this mobile app dev meetup, where I walked them through the basics of building their first mobile app. And then from there, we go there in the beginning, teach them a little bit about Objective-C, how to build their first mobile app. And then throughout that process, I let them send an email in their app. Really gets a lot of developers in that finance field to learn about SendGrid and what we do. And at the end of the class, I give them more resources on how to continue their journey into learning how to build a mobile app. It's a really fun experience, and I love doing it. So another great place to hit up developers is with content. Tons of blog posts, write mashups, tutorials on best ways to solve problems that developers have. We're an email-focused company, so we kind of focus on the email space. We write a lot of blog posts on how you get emails incoming to your application, and also how to write mashups. So I think the last mashup I wrote was how to incorporate machine learning with email and kind of get the sentiment analysis. So whenever an email comes in, before you even read it, you know if it's positive or negative. And a lot of developers seem to really like content like that. Another great resource is Stack Overflow. Answering any sort of questions that people want to search for, and solving those pains in a public area helps out a lot. Another focus that SendGrid is doing that's kind of shifting from developer evangelism, but I guess more towards community, is sponsoring these startup incubators and accelerators. So we've sponsored Techstars, 500 startups, and the Global Accelerator Network. We go to these different accelerators and provide office hours, and as well as a happy hour at the end. The main purpose is to solve problems that these startups have, whether developer-focused or just startup-focused in general. If they need connections to an investor, if they need to find other developers for their products, anything that we can do to help them to make their lives better, email-focused or not email-focused, that's the ethos of what our team does. And again, it does the same exact stuff that developer evangelism does. They become great advocates for us as well. And feel free to stop me at any point if you want to ask a question.
Do you do anything with
yes.
students? Because I know a lot of what we do, we had at any given time between 4 and 6 Drexel interns at our office.
Yeah.
And I would think that would be a great source for you guys to tap into. You have all these tech people, and then they have to do 3 internships with tech companies. That if you had them come to a couple meetings, here's, and did some of this stuff.
Yeah.
That would really spice up their portfolio, and then give you all these guys and say, oh, you need an email solution, you guys should look over there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to let you know to speak into the mic, but for the next one, I remember that. Apologize about that.
It's being recorded.
Yeah. So we had this program called the Ambassador Program, where we just strictly for college students to come and join us at events like this. So whether at a college hackathon, whether at a conference or these office hours, they would join us and they would kind of wear the SendGrid hoodies, which employees wear, and act as evangelists on us, and they would kind of learn along the way. It's a really good event. It's a really good program as well. And we also, we've hired 2 people from that little program to be full-time evangelists. So the other thing that we started realizing towards, I think, the end of last year was as the team grows, as your evangelist team grows, you're going to start specializing in different areas. It doesn't make sense for every developer evangelist to try to be a part of awareness and adoption, going to different events in different cities. We noticed that right away, evangelists were starting to specialize in just a location. So I started covering purely kind of Philadelphia, New York, Boston. Didn't make sense for me to start traveling to San Francisco or other places where developer events were because we had evangelists in those areas. We also started specializing in certain people just wanted to focus in on startups. Other people wanted to focus on education, kind of doing more of those kind of mobile app meetups, hackathons, and then developer experience, which is kind of improving our API. So we had, as our evangelism team grew, people kind of just chose their little niche in the team and started working there. We also had new roles open up that we thought were important as well. So we know Docs is very important for a developer-focused company. So we hired a Docs developer just focused to make that the best experience that we can. Community managers are just purely to help other startups. And then team leads kind of help manage the technical, non-technical, both people in certain areas. And then we have a person focused on just helping us make the best developer content we can. And this is one of the questions that, oh, go ahead, take the mic.
So part of scaling out a developer evangelism team has to do with like hiring on more developer evangelists. And I guess like as you hire on more, this becomes less of a problem. But I think I saw somewhere like the average sort of tenure of a developer evangelist is like a year and a half because they get burned out from all of the travel. So how do you manage that aspect of the job, especially if you're hiring on people who are like traditionally underrepresented in tech in the first place, and those environments tend to be stressful in the first place?
Yeah.
Like how have you, as like SendGrid, systematically figured out how to scale that aspect of the job in particular?
For better retention or to?
For better retention, I suppose is sort of like the main crux of the problem.
Right. So we've noticed, so let me go back to, just to give you an idea. Okay, so this is all the hires we've ever had so far at the history of SendGrid. We've, in terms of the typical life of an evangelist is around 18 to 24 months. We've noticed that about, I think in 2013, 4 of those people have left since we joined, purely because you just get burnt out from all the travel. One of the things that helped out a lot was kind of staying in your location. As team grows, if you just kind of cover your location and not travel as much, but kind of do more events for your specific area, it's helped evangelists stay longer. We also like it when, it sounds weird, but when you code every day and evangelists do what they love, they tend to stay evangelists a little longer. Does that cover your topic? I feel like I didn't fully focus on it.
Like the first half it definitely covers, but the second half is sort of like to be frank, there's been like SendGrid things like over the past few years in the news specifically about like evangelism.
Like for diversity.
Like things of that nature, yeah. How do you manage that aspect of it given who traditionally ends up becoming an evangelist, and how do you sort of diversify that aspect given that a lot of the people, especially at college hackathons, are like underrepresented people in tech? How do you manage
more female representation? Is that what you're?
Female, racial, any sort of like I live in San Francisco, so it tends to skew very heavily, like white men tend to be evangelists.
Yeah, no, we've definitely noticed that problem. So it's not something like, it's something we put more focus on as time goes on. We haven't started looking for hires since, I guess 2014, and I know that's one of the things that now it's a big push coming inside SendGrid to have more representation, more diversity on our team. Definitely a huge push. But I do see, if you take a look at that chart, you're going to see it tends to be very male-dominated. We only have Anna on the top right over there. But that's something that we're trying to change, for sure. We're looking for another evangelist in San Francisco, actually. And it's really important for us to have more diversity on the team because it just gives different viewpoints. And the more different viewpoints we have, the better solutions we can create. So I don't know if that really solves it. I do know that's something that's been focused for us. But yeah, so that's the answer I have right now. Thank you. All right, so let's try to find the slide I was at. Okay, so this is a topic it's really hard to measure. Measuring evangelism is one of those things that how do you measure how well I spoke to you today? There are ways to do it, Net Promoter Score or other means to go ahead and do it, but it's just one of those things that there's no silver bullet in saying these are the best measurements to see how well you're doing and this is how to scale your evangelism program. One of the things we like doing is looking at usage and kind of Google Analytics for a certain location. So if I go to an event in Georgia or Miami or someplace on the East Coast where I tend to focus on, we can kind of see how it was before I was there. We can kind of see the spike of traffic during the event, and we can see how it is after I leave. If you see that, we kind of build advocates and it's higher usage of SendGrid in those areas after we left, which happens a lot of the time, those are good places to be and those are good events to be in. Finally, rinse and repeat. We kind of go in and out of these different phases for different locations. New York tends to be pretty well known, but if you want to go to a different location, like we're just hiring in San Francisco right now, awareness and adoption in these programs are going to happen all again to try to hit up all these local events. So one of the other things I want to talk about is since up to, I guess, November last year, we were kind of purely developer evangelism team. Everyone on the team was technical. It was called developer relations. Since then, the team is kind of now called community. We have both non-technical people as well as technical people on our team. Both types of, and that's also a focus reflecting on what SendGrid is in general. SendGrid started up as a startup, very developer-focused company, and now we're trying to hit the email space in general. We're trying to hit more marketing, kind of become more of a competitor to MailChimp as well, rather than Mandrill and other kind of just developer-focused parts of the company. So part of that is our team now from developer relations is now called community. We now have people called community managers who help work with startups and other types of businesses or small businesses to let them know about SendGrid and our marketing platform as well. So I know you can ask questions anytime. If you have any extra questions, feel free to ask right now.
So for your expanding your horizons on that, have you really gotten more toward marketing, like marketing people? Because I know like the one big thing, I actually do a lot of actual PDF mailing. So, and then that spikes out two ways. We send over to an internal PDF mailer, and then we ship it out to the company that mails it out. And we have another company that we send stuff to, and I send them all of the text in an email address. And they'll first try to email it to them, and then they'll monitor it. If it comes back, then they'll send them a mail. I'm like, have you ever gotten into doing any of those things?
So far, we started off as just transactional email. So if someone has some sort of account notification, forgotten password, that's where we started off. Now we're focusing in on marketing emails. So you have a list of customers who use your product, and now you want to go ahead and send them kind of a big blast of emails saying, look at our new feature, new product. That's kind of the space we're going to right now, trying to make it really pretty, really easy to use. Mm-hmm. The other thing that we're also trying to get into is kind of behavior-driven stuff. If someone is an e-commerce site and they checked something in their cart but they didn't hit checkout, then if within triggers emails, and it'll send them an email. So we're trying to go into those two areas for products. More marketing and kind of trigger-based email.
Yeah, because what we do is I'm in the energy space, so anytime you're on our website or do anything or change any relationship with us, it's a change of legal contract. So I have to contact you and say you changed A to B. And then generally we send letters, but we'd like to do email, and then if email fails, then go letters because you have to contact them.
The cool thing with SendGrid is, let's say you do send that, you can actually see if the person opened the email. So then you get that read receipt saying, okay, I sent it to you and you opened it.
You get the read receipt even if they decide not to send it?
If they open the email.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there's ways that you can prevent that from. So
you can. I mean, basically the read receipt is just a pixel, an image being opened. If you say don't look at any images, you're not going to see if they actually opened it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're right. There's ways of getting around that.
Maybe you should come talk to them.
Yeah. Sure. Cool.
Are there any other KPIs you guys use to track performance of your evangelism efforts? I would think at somewhere point along the line, you must have tried coupon codes per event.
I actually forgot about talking about the coupon codes. Yeah. We definitely do coupon codes, especially for our startup efforts. Keep forgetting about the mic. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So coupon codes is big for us. Anytime we go to an accelerator or startup or any of those programs, we give out coupon codes, and from there we can see, based on location and those codes, which are directly customized for them, who used it and how many, and the lifetime of that customer based on that coupon code. Yeah, which is huge. Thanks for bringing that up.
Because since you guys are tech guys, what Redgate did, I went to one of their things last year.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of these things where they have the whole developer community come in, and then they track their Twitter and they heat map it. So they find out where the person was. They have the 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 longitude and the latitude, and they could say whether it's a positive or a negative comment, and they could heat map, and they could see where they've had penetration and where they haven't had penetration, so they know where to send people where no one's mentioning your name.
Yeah. So that's really good. Use sentiment analysis on Twitter. We haven't done that. What we do is Salesforce. We see where customers are coming in, and are they coming in through docs? Are they actually becoming customers? And from there, we kind of have those heat maps to say, all right, where's the most usage and where's the best places for us to be? It tends to be in the major cities. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming out. I have SendGrid stickers here, so if anyone wants any additional swag or something, feel free to take. Otherwise, appreciate you guys coming out. Thanks.